All right, so now let's start by talking about pain, soreness, and tension. Um, Now, again, let me just start this chapter again by saying I am not a doctor, all right? So if you're really having a lot of pain or tenderness, you should stop what it is you're doing at the piano, okay? If you have a doctor, you should see your doctor, ask them about it, okay? I'm just going to give you my 25 years of professional experience and tell you what it is that I've learned about this subject. Now, there's first of all a difference between pain and soreness, okay? Now, if you have any kind of shooting pain, like up the arm, it's like lightning bolts or whatnot, stop immediately. Please do not play the piano anymore. I don't mean forever. I just mean at this particular moment. So if you're playing, you're like, just stop playing right now, okay? You should never have shooting lightning bolt feelings up your arms, okay? If you have it anywhere else in your body too, stop. You need to go and you need to really get active and assess what it is that you're doing. Remember that obviously we know. I mean, some of this stuff I'm going to say, and forgive me, it's you know, you're going to know some of this stuff, but I have to say it anyway. Your brain controls your body, right? And if your brain is completely like, kind of like you take your brain and put it over there, and you know, you're not thinking, you're just like, oh, whatever, I'm just going to kind of play around, all right? Then your body's going to start to do things, all right? And then you're going to start to build tension. You're not even going to become aware of it, all right? So awareness is such an important part of playing the instrument. Most of the time, you know, you could play and you don't have to be super aware of what you're doing. You can kind of lose yourself in the moment. But when you start getting some pain or soreness or whatnot, this is when your brain has to start to get active, right? Because if you kind of check out and you're not active, you are going to hurt yourself. I can guarantee it, all right? It's happened to me. I've seen it happen to many other people, all right? So it will happen to you as well if you are not remaining aware. So awareness is the very first thing. Saying, okay, so like if I'm playing, I'm literally like first thing in the morning here, so I haven't played the piano at all. I just like, you know, let me like do something really fast, you know. I start to like create some heat and some tension, and maybe a little bit of pain or whatnot, all right? And it's like, okay, well, whoa, what am I doing? Remain aware of what's happening. If I say, hey, look, I'm starting to get some tension here, all right, so now I need to kind of change what it is that I'm doing. And we'll talk about some of those techniques a little bit later in the lesson, all right? But that awareness is the key, all right? If you're not aware of what's going on or you choose to ignore it, then you're going to hurt yourself. It's only a matter of time, right? But if you remain aware, then you got a fighting chance. Now, pain, pain is not good. Pain is like, ow, ow, you know, this hurts. Soreness is like, oh, man, that's uncomfortable. Soreness, the reason it gets a little bit tricky is because if you're practicing, say, you know, if you're going through and practicing all your scales, right? You know, you're doing these, you know, doing all 12 major scales, and maybe you play your scales for like 15 or 20 minutes. Well, you know what? You might have a little bit of soreness in your hands and your fingers, maybe your arms, okay? Now, that soreness, don't just ignore it, all right? Get aware of it, all right? And say, oh, okay, my hands, my arms are sore. Like, you really don't have to do much more than that. Just remain aware that, okay, it's there. I got some soreness there. Now, where that awareness helps is that now you don't push yourself more. Okay, so it's not like working out in the gym, which, you know, you just keep pushing yourself. But even there, you push yourself too much, guess what? You hurt yourself, all right? You see many people hurt themselves. I even hurt my shoulder, too, from pushing myself too much, okay? So keep that awareness. So you have the awareness that, okay, your hand was a little bit sore, but it's not at the pain level yet. All right, so then that means, all right, if I was kind of had a little bit of soreness while doing my scales, rather than doing something else that's very technical, let me do something that's, you know, maybe less technical, like maybe working on reading a piece of music, where it's going to be like, you know, maybe something simple, like it's more chordal down here. You kind of give your hand a chance to rest. Now, tension. Tension, there is a certain amount of tension that you need in order to play the piano. Otherwise, you just drop down, you'd be a puddle of goo on the floor, all right? Your body always has a certain amount of tension in it, all right? Even at rest, there's a certain amount of tension that goes on, okay? Now, we want to try and avoid and remove as much tension as possible, right? We really want to try to play with the least amount of tension. Now, your posture is going to be extremely important. I'm going to talk about that more in the centering chapter after this, okay? But posture is going to really play an important role in terms of how much tension is created in the body. Let me tell you about my own personal tension that I have when I play. What I'll start to do is I start to get tension in my legs. And sometimes I'll like put my knee underneath the keyboard, right? And I'll like kind of push up there, right? And I kind of have this tension going on in my leg, right? Why? I don't know. I'm aware that I do it, okay? So I am careful not to have that tension, creep out into my arms. Sometimes when I'm playing, especially if it's like, you're doing something like this, which is like this real fast pattern, like, keeping your hand open, or you're doing like, like these Montuno kind of stuff. That kind of stuff where you have those octaves, your hand is open, you're going to start to create some tension. So now what I do is that I am aware of this when I am playing. If I'm playing a gig or a performance, whatever, I'm aware of this. So then once I get to that point in which it's like, okay, I've created as much tension as I can, then I move on to something else. I don't keep playing through it, because if I keep playing through it with that tension, guess what? The next measure or next 8 measures, I can't play anything because my arms are just spent, all right? Not only like doing stuff like this, it's like there's a certain, you could just see the tension. So, I mean, maybe I'll do it, I might do that for, I don't know, like, maybe a chorus or whatnot, but then I move away from it. You'll also notice that I might change the rhythm or something, or change the lick. Now here, this is a great example because I literally, it's first thing in the morning, it's probably 8 o'clock in the morning right now. I have not warmed up at all at the instrument. So I'm jumping right into doing these, like, immediately I'm feeling tension, okay? I feel tension in my arms. Now I'm not going to keep doing this because my mind, I know full well, if I continue to play like this right now and demonstrate it to you, all right, and then like, oh, look at this and this and this, I'm going to hurt my arm, all right? This is what I've learned over the years. I've learned to read my body, so I know that, okay, hey, look, I got to like actually sit down and warm up. I'd probably do some scales or something, or even just... even just doing stuff like that where it's more, you see I'm not like having these big stretches, I'm not doing the big double stops. It's more chromaticism, but it starts to just move my hand around. It's not too fast, right? But it's a nice just little improvisational type exercise. Right? So I would probably do something like that. But tension is being created. If I am not aware of that tension that I'm creating, right, and I just keep plowing through it, I am going to hurt myself. So, pain, soreness, tension, all right? We want to play without pain. If you have pain, you have a problem. Pain is a problem. You cannot continue to play with pain because you're going to hurt yourself. And if you really just keep barreling through it, it could be long-term hurting yourself. You don't want to do that, okay? So if it's pain, you got to fix that. First step, Remain aware of what it is you're doing. If your mind is aware that, hey, look, there's some pain, then start to change what it is you're doing, you know? Like if you notice that you're like, you know, your wrist is like this or something, or like you're holding a lot of tension, look, boop, 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 you know, look with your eyes and see like, oh man, that looks weird, all right? Well, it probably is weird. So then you need to change that, right? I'll give you another great example. I'll probably talk about this at another point, but I used to set up with a mirror, all right? And not to be a little weird or anything, but I would take my shirt off, all right? And I would play, talk about giving you personal information. So I would have a mirror here with my shirt off, all right? It'd be summertime, so it's hot anyway. And I'd play, and I would look at myself in the mirror, or I was usually on this side. I would look at myself in the mirror and look at my posture while playing. Then I'd start to just kind of get into it. Kind of glance over, like how am I sitting, all right? And if you notice, my posture is pretty good when I'm sitting down at the piano. Like I really have worked on that a lot, and that has been critical for my technique, and then also for me not hurting myself. But the reason I bring it up is that the mirror, it's physically looking at what it is that I am doing. Right? I am actually looking at my body. It's not like, oh, how do I feel about this? Or what's my thoughts about this? Or let me overanalyze it. No, it's just, that looks weird, you know? It really shouldn't look like that. When your hands are playing, you should literally look pretty much like this. Your hands should look normal. The curvature of your fingers should be pretty normal. Right? Some people want to say it's like having a ball. Is that how you play the piano? You know, of course not, all right? That's how I hold a ball, but that's not how I'm going to play the piano. We use these things, and teachers use these things as a visualization. But you've got to get beyond the visualization. You've got to say, okay, well, what makes sense here? I'm obviously not going to play the piano like this, you know? All right? So instead, it's going to be just a natural curvature. I should be relaxed, all right? My hands should just, you know, just put your hands down on the keyboard, right? And just relax them. Relax your fingers. Just, you know, this is how you're going to play with the least amount of tension that you need to. All right. When you see really good pianists playing, take a look at YouTube. You can see plenty of them. All right. And then you look at the Oscar Petersons, the Brad Meldows, the Keith Jarrett's, the Chick Coreas, you know, the Herbie Hancock. It goes on and on. Bill Evans. You're going to notice that it's like effortless. It's just like, you know, it's like almost like they're like hardly moving their hand at all. Right. It's just a. Okay? It's real effortless. Even check out like Michel Camilo, Camillo. But anyway, you'll be able to find him. Michel Camilo. He's a Latin guy. This guy, like, you know, like really like octaves and stuff. And then take a look at him. He's playing stuff that is super tension creating. I mean, that stuff creates tension like crazy. But look at his body. All right? Look at what it is that he's doing. Notice, again, the analysis. You're analyzing what other people are doing. You're analyzing what you're doing. Now, if you're just thinking, hey, Willie, you know, you're talking too much. Just show me the licks. I really don't care about this stuff. Hey, fine. Shut the lesson off. I can tell you, though, right, from my own personal experience, because I had to wear the braces. I went to school when I was at Berkeley. I saw the other guys walking around with the braces. I slept with the brace at night, okay? Did the creams and the lotions and all that, taking the aspirin, all right? So I have firsthand experience with this, that if you just like, whatever, then you're going to hurt yourself. And you could hurt yourself really bad and get to the point where you can't play. Or even worse than not being able to play. What's worse than not being able to play is being able to play, but not being able to play what you hear, right? Isn't that terrible? You're playing, it's like, oh gosh, I know it's in there, but I just can't get it out because I don't have the technique right now to get it out. And we think technique is all about like, I just gotta keep doing it, keep doing it, just, just like plow through it. I gotta man up about this and keep doing it. No, that's not what it's about. Technique is about using your body the right way, okay? It's all about, it's leverage. You know, like the guy's like trying to move the rock, and then you got the guy who comes over with a crowbar, and there you go, the rock moves, all right? It's leverage. You want to learn how to leverage your body, right, and the body mechanics to be able to improve your technique play faster, all right, and whatnot. Okay, so anyway, I've talked enough about this pain, soreness, and technique. There's a lot there, okay, so sorry for going on. Main thing to take away from this chapter, if you have pain, stop, please, immediately. If it's soreness, then remain aware of what it is that you're doing. Okay, I'm sore, I gotta be careful now so it doesn't translate into pain. Soreness might mean, let me step away for 5 minutes. Let me just take a 5-minute break, get a cup of coffee, come back, and play some more, okay? And if you have tension in your body, remain aware of it, and then now you want to start to just kind of get rid of that tension. I'll talk more about that in the Alexander technique section as well. All right, see you in the next chapter.